Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rich in the Philippines. Not so much rich in pesos, but rich because that's my name. Okay, we have a couple of updates, actually 3 updates we have to do first. The first one is super important. I want to get it out of the way because a lot of you were concerned about it. I got a new haircut. There you go. I found somebody. So I know a lot of you have been concerned about that. I just wanted to quell your fears that I've been coiffed anew. There you go. Number two update is the bike. So about 4,000 people clicked into that video, and that was on buying a bike and selling a bike. And I learned a lot from your comments, and I believe that next time I will probably search out a dealership and buy a used vehicle through a dealership. That seems to be the way to go. I couldn't find that bike through a dealership. That's why I bought it used. And I was telling you, and I still agree with this, if to do it over again, I would have waited and probably bought new, just because I would have got more out of the resale. Here's a little story about that. So after I sold it and made the video, I got I don't want to call it a terse message, but a terse message from the first buyer. And he said, "Poe, you did not do the paperwork right for the third buyer." And you guys, I did everything I possibly could. I sat on my hands. I was like, don't respond right away. I didn't want to respond with, "Dude, you didn't do the paperwork right, so how could I do the paperwork right?" But I didn't say that. I just gave a simple thumbs up. So in the meantime, the third buyer, the guy who I had sold to, remember, there's the first buyer, me, and the third buyer. The third buyer reaches out to me and says, "Hey, boss, can we get together? I need to get some more paperwork from you." And I, sure, I'll do what I can as long as it doesn't cost me anything. If you want to go down and get some lawyer paperwork, that's on your dime. And that's what I was thinking. However, I was shooting a video that day and I said, "Hey, sure, let's get together tomorrow." He said, "No problem." So tomorrow rolls around, or the next day rolls around, and I sent him a message. "Okay, boss, let's get together on the paperwork." No reply. I sent 2 more replies and he did not reply. And so that's fine with me. It led me to the conclusion, and you could tell me if you have the same conclusion, that buyer 1 and buyer 3, because I put them in touch with each other, they're now talking, and buyer 1 is now doing the paperwork for him for buyer 3 that he wouldn't do for me. I don't know if that's 100% correct. And in the art of stoicism, I don't really care. I just know that the bike's gone, the pesos are in, I wish them the best, and we'll go from there. Okay, so the third update was on the SRRV video that I did. Had a lot of comments, had a lot of input of stuff that I had never thought of, heard of, or believed could happen. And first off, I want to thank you guys for responding. And second off, I'm sorry I couldn't be more help. I am putting up, there is my checklist, and that was the checklist right before I went in to do the process. So that wasn't I had probably 3 checklists before that checklist. And, but this was the one right before I met with, that might have been on the second meeting to actually finish up my SRRV paperwork, the checklist I'm going to show you. With that being said, I read a lot of you said that you felt that the DD-214 had to be federal apostolized or apostatized, whatever word we decide that wasn't the case for me. I'm here to tell you, I sent 3 things to be apostolized, and they're on the checklist. One of them didn't even make the checklist. It was my DD-214, my proof of income, and then the bank's proof that had been coming in for months. Those were the 3 that I did. And as you can see up there, there's still to pay were the medical and the background check that I did here. Some of you, I was amazed and blown away. Some of you just breezed through it, and I mean, actually, that wasn't the majority that said that. That was the minority. And then some of you, or a lot of you, made me feel better that you too, it gave you a lot of angst, all of the different moving parts that had to be juggled and done at the same time. But what really impressed me were the guys that actually came here and did everything from here. I didn't even think in my head that was possible, nor would I want it to, because I was close to my capital. I was close to my notary. I was close to my bank account. So the idea of having to communicate with them over a 14-hour time difference, just freaked me out. So I did as much of it as I could in America, but some of you did it all here. So way to go. And again, I'm going to put my checklist up, and thanks for all the input. And there was some really good feedback on that. Now we're going to get to today's topic, and that's communication with your Filipino. I had no idea what I was getting into on that one either. When I had an LDR, we had a long distance relationship. And I think I told you in one of the other videos, one of the reasons that I picked my Filipina, or I don't want to say my partner, however you want to word it, that doesn't sound horrible, picked the person that I wanted to be with, that's probably a better way to say it, was that A, she was working, B, she had her own life, C, that included her own friends. So to me, that was, these were all mandatory things, having their own life and having the job. Because once I was here, I discovered that some of my buddies, they were quite okay with moving them in. And a lot of Filipinos that I know aren't working. Well, they're kind of working for their husbands or their boyfriends, but they're together 24/7. And I commend that because I can't do it. At least I don't think I can do it at this point. And a lot of you can, and I'll probably get a lot about down below about that, but that's just me. I've said it before, you do you, I'll do me. So in the beginning of the LDR, I was still working, and I still had my dog who was just getting sick. We were going through COVID, and it was a horrible time in the TV world because some TV stations were doing live broadcasts. Some were actually doing it from their home in the beginning. Advertisers, they weren't advertising because why would they be? And luckily I worked for a company that in the beginning really took care of us in the beginning. And then we moved to Zoom meetings, which was enough to drive a person to drink. And I don't want to get into any of those politics because that's in the past, in the rearview mirror. I'm talking about communicating with your Filipina. So in the beginning, you talk in the morning, you talk in the evening. It's her morning, her evening. You say good morning, you say good night. You maybe text a little bit in the middle, and life is good. So then fast forward, I think that's the first time in this video, fast forward to here and now. And again, my Filipina is working, and she works, had a lot to do with the voting. So she was super, super busy when I first got here. And our conversations, we still did some serious talk time. However, she is still working, and I dare I say, I can't work because I'm on SSRV or SRRV. However, I can't work, not supposed to. But I did come with some web work. So that meant talking to America at night and maybe doing some other shooting during the day. The point is that we have fluctuated from, tons of communication to, minimal communication to back to mornings and evenings, even while here. And I know some guys that, they rack up hours and hours and hours still. So what I did is the same thing I did when I first started the dating thing. I set down boundaries. I say, look, I don't need to talk to you. I don't need to find out where you're at every minute of the day. And I get that's a Filipino thing. I'm really looking forward to the feedback on that one down below of what your thinking is and what your experiences are. So what I did is set up boundaries with my Filipina, still to this day. And now her job, she's getting better and better at it. She works in education and she's moving up the ladder. She's super smart, like I've said. So it's just a matter of time before she started to climb the ladder of success. And I'm happy for her. And I want her to be successful. I want her to be happy. And with all of those possible, promotions, she has to study for them. It's kind of like the same in America, but it's a lot different here. It's a lot more study time goes in. So what I've noticed is that it's a lot like the relationship. There's ups and downs. There's times when she's free to talk to me and she reaches out and I'm not available, or there's time when I'm available and she's in meetings, or she's available and I'm doing expat nap time. I'm only slightly joking. But with dealing with America, whether it's websites or family or banking, you have to do it in the middle of the night. So that means you either, you only get a little bit of sleep. I did a video on that. Or you sleep during the day when you work at night. So we have been super flexible on our communication times. However, with that being said, I know that we've had to have give and take on our communication. And I wasn't ready for it. To be honest with you, I wasn't ready for the Filipino communication style, or the fact that there was so much. And she's a sweetheart. She would actually say that I just need more attention. And, that's an honest thing to say. And you're like, okay, I can give you more attention now. And then when I'm busy, I just say, hey, look, I can't give you the attention now. I have deadlines, especially when I'm working with Steve or when I'm working on other projects, dealing with websites or content. You're under the gun. You have to work. And so and I've discovered, you guys, is that, as much as I say I'm a multitasker, and Steve will attest to this, he'll be talking to me and I'll be uploading the wrong damn video, or I'll miss something on the sound because he's telling me a story about a one-eyed guy with a banjo. So I really have to focus on my work. So in closing, how I deal with the communication or the overload of communication is literally one situation at a time. If I'm busy, if I'm on a busy streak, I just come out and say it. If she's on a busy streak, she just comes out and says it. I would really be interested to know some of the challenges you've had with your communications with your Filipinas and how you've dealt with it. It's a learning curve, and I'm on 2 years and I'm still learning. Let me know what you think. This has been Rich in the Philippines. Have a good day. Have a good night.